There's no one-size-fits-all solution to studying. What works for one person might not work for another, and finding what works for you is the key. Everyone has their own unique way of learning, but there are a few strategies that tend to work well for most people. First, condense your knowledge. Create summaries for each area of study, aiming to fit it onto a double-sided A4 page. If you can distill your understanding down to just 1 or 2 pages, it shows you've grasped the concepts well enough to summarize them, which is a great starting point for your revision. Second, articulate what you've learned. It's one thing to write an answer, but being able to explain a concept clearly to someone else, whether it's a parent, friend, or even a pet, demonstrates that your understanding has deepened. If you can teach it, you know it. Lastly, remember the layers of learning. Business management exams test your ability to apply knowledge to case studies, so practice is essential. Many students spend too much time perfecting their notes and not enough time doing practice exams. Since these exams focus on applying theory rather than just recalling it, the best thing you can do is dive into practice questions and timed exams. The more you practice, the more prepared you'll be. Based on examiner's notes, my tips VCE Business Management exam are as follows. Tip 1. Definitions. When incorporating definitions into your exam responses, be strategic. A definition should only be included if the question explicitly asks for it, or if it enhances the clarity of your response. For instance, when asked to compare concepts like entitlement and transition issues, using definitions can help highlight the differences and similarities. However, merely stating a definition without applying it to the question will not earn marks. Avoid defaulting to definitions when unsure of the answer. Focus on addressing the question directly unless the task specifically instructs you to define terms. Tip 2. 10-mark task. Many students struggle with sustaining their responses for the 10-mark question. While there is no set length, higher scoring responses typically fill most of the provided space and are organized into paragraphs, making the response clearer and more logical. A brief plan can help you stay on track, though the plan itself won't be awarded marks. This task is designed to integrate various aspects of the course, so practicing this skill throughout the year is essential. Tip 3. Command terms. Familiarize yourself with the VCAA glossary of command terms, which is crucial for understanding what each term requires in an exam response. For example, the term compare requires discussing both similarities and differences, while analyze requires exploring relationships and causal effects, rather than just listing strengths and weaknesses. Understanding these terms helps ensure your response aligns with the task's requirements and improves your chances of earning full marks. Tip 4. Contemporary case studies. Ensure that the case studies you use in your responses are up to date, as the study design requires them to be within the last 4 years. Many students made the mistake of using outdated examples, like Kohl's and Woolworth's phasing out single-use plastic bags, which occurred more than 4 years ago. Instead, focus on more recent events, such as the use of artificial intelligence in retail, to stay relevant and meet exam criteria. Tip 5. Memorized responses. Avoid relying on memorized information when responding to exam questions. For example, instead of simply describing the theory, focus on how it applies to the specific question. Memorized content that doesn't directly address the question won't earn full marks. Tip 6. Case study. Links. Always ensure your answers are explicitly linked to the provided case study material. The 2022 exam instructions made it clear that answers must apply to the case study. Failure to make these connections in your response will result in lost marks, so always integrate the case study details into your answers.